Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
Very interesting and very tricky one. Mind you, these are official questions, guys. Not difficult to understand? Not difficult to understand? Can someone tell me what is the argument essentially trying to convey? Yes, Sangatha, go ahead, go ahead. Monotony in their diets to variety. One second, one second. I think you are the other way around. What did the people uh, think? Very nice. They would, yeah, assortment essentially is kind of variety. Yes. So people or volunteers before the experiment, they thought that they would prefer variety over monotony. Okay, go ahead. Very nice. Afterward, by afterward, we mean after the experiment, those who received only corn chips, that's monotony, they reported greater satisfaction. And on the basis of this, the researchers are concluding that people tend to mistakenly believe that they prefer variety to monotony. Now, in these kind of, I would say, slightly convoluted conclusions, it is also always a good idea to articulate the conclusion slightly in simpler words. So, for example, I have concluded this in simpler words that the conclusion is people prefer monotony over variety in their diets. This is the conclusion that we have to strengthen. Right? All right. See, process of elimination is another thing that you have to very aggressively deploy in critical reasoning. For example, other experience is completely out of scope, right? We are only talking about satisfaction in monotonous diets versus variety. Other experiences could be anything, right? It could be swimming, dancing, whatever. That's out of scope. Which one? Charlie, volunteers were not informed beforehand that those who did not receive an assortment of snacks would receive only corn chips. What do you think? Would this matter? Would this matter?
Sir, E.
All right. Okay. How about Edward? In a separate taste test, most people found the corn chips to be less appetizing than any other snack the volunteers received? David, we have a wide variety of choices.
Devil.
Sorry, Kriti, which one?
Devil.
David. Okay.
Yeah, sir. I'll also go with David only.
Okay. Why are you guys getting so attracted by David? Why do you think David is so appealing? I mean, they're talking about snacks, assortment of snacks or conscious between meals, right? So between meals, let's say lunch and dinner, right? Um, so what the argument is talking about is the satisfaction with snacks, right? So what do they have for dinner later? I would say would not really be that relevant.
And like I think it would also weaken the argument because we are talking about monotonous food. So it means that only have one type of food. So if they have variety, I don't think that will be monotonous.
Yeah, but that variety is for main meals, mind you.
Oh,
While here we are talking about not the main meals here, right? It's between the main meals, in fact. Now, think about it. Tell me, these volunteers who participated in this experiment, tell me, were now, what was their impression? What was their impression? That they would prefer variety over monotony. But they ultimately ended up liking what? Specifically what? Corn chips. Now, let me give you an example. Let me give an example. Suppose I love corn chips. Suppose I love corn chips. And you conduct this experiment on me. So you give me corn chips, and then you give me a variety of snacks. What would I like? Corn chips. But does my case then necessarily indicate that I love monotony over variety? No, it does not. My case does not indicate that I love monotony over variety, right? I loved monotony because I love corn chips. This has nothing to do with monotony. Are you guys with me? So this is where we are coming from. The argument is concluding that monotony gives, right? People prefer monotony over variety in their diets. So monotony is what gives greater satisfaction to people. This is what the argument is concluding. But what if specific taste for corn chips is the reason for greater satisfaction and not monotony? As was the case with me, for example. I love corn chips. So corn chips, my specific taste for corn chips was the reason for greater satisfaction and not monotony per se. But then what do we have to support here? We have to support this. If we have to support this, then what do we have to do? Eliminate alternate cause for the stated effect. And that's exactly what Edward is doing. In a separate test, most people found the corn chips to be less appetizing. So it was not that essentially we are eliminating this. That it is not that people have specific taste for corn chips. So in a separate test, most people found the corn chips to be less appetizing than any other snack. But in this experiment, people still preferred corn chips over the assortment. That very clearly says that monotony is what people prefer. Remember, this was a frame. We discussed this as part of a framework that you have to, one way to strengthen the conclusion is to eliminate alternate cause for the stated effect. And that's exactly what Edward is doing. Edward is eliminating this cause for this. Clear?